The world is evolving on a real-time basis. The role of hiring, growth, and career progression has just advanced ahead. It is not just about the title that you hold, but what people can do. How has this rapid evolution reshaped your approach towards hiring?
Earlier, we used to match resume to the job description. Now it's about mapping potential to opportunities.
What is it that keeps you still excited about this space year after year?
Business cycle will always shift, but one thing that is constant is the human story behind every hire.
It's remarkable when you think how 4 years back the tech jobs that we have today didn't even exist. The world is evolving on a real-time basis. The role of hiring, growth, and career progression has just advanced ahead. It is not just about the title that you hold, but what people can do. As technology evolves, it's equipping people with what they think, how they learn, and how can they challenge safely what is familiar. I am Swarnakshi Rakshit, Senior Director Talent Acquisition, and I'm joined by Rishi Bhatnagar, Vice President Talent Acquisition of Publicis Sapient, someone who's of course been in the forefront of this transformation. Rishi, how has this rapid evolution reshaped your approach towards hiring?
Thank you, Swarna, for the introduction. The way we think about talent is fundamentally different. Earlier, we used to match resume to the job description. Now it's about mapping potential to opportunities. Half-life of skills are shrinking rapidly, and it's all about moving from role-based approach to capability approach. And at Publicis Sapient, we've already moved toward capability-based hiring. We anticipate in advance what our business would need, and then we invest heavily on our people. And hiring is no longer about transactional anymore. Hiring is a continuous and a strategic capability for us. We've realized the transformation happens when people and products evolve together. When we look for talent, we look for those who can not only just complete tasks, but question it, reimagine it, and think boldly. At the end of the day, it's about aligning mindsets, skill sets, and tool sets. Curiosity to think, passion to learn, tools to make it real, and skill to scale it. Of course, the environment makes a lot of difference where you can feel safe, you can take risks, you can learn from failures. That's what prepares you for what next and not just what's now.
That's such an important point. When people and performance are connected in a safe space. When it's a safe space that you're talking about, people start questioning the design, they rework on the model, and they just don't hesitate to talk about failures. When they start taking this ownership, that's really when innovation starts. To that, Rishi, through all the business cycles that you've gone through, the highs, the lows, the slowdowns, what is it that keeps you still excited about this space year after year?
For me, the spark is always about the people, unlocking their potential, seeing them do things that they didn't think that was possible. Business cycle will always shift, but one thing that is constant is the human story behind every hire. When you start viewing hiring not just as a process, but you start seeing it as a way to shape future, it's impossible not to stay inspired.
This gets us to a very important point where we say that TA is evolving over the years. Now, earlier, what was TA looked at? At transaction, merely filling roles. From there, we've become a growth enabler or a driver, and right now we are also getting involved in client conversation. So, Rishi, how do you think TA has evolved over the years from a merely transactional to a truly transformational? And right now, as I speak, we are getting involved in client conversation right at the pitch stage.
That's a transformation that's been long overdue. Like you said, TA was seen as reactive, focused on transactions and timelines. But in today's world, talent is the differentiator. We are now part of client pitches where when client talks about transformation, they're truly asking who is behind it. TA becomes growth driver when it influences delivery readiness, shape capability investments, and co-create solutions with our client and delivery partners. It's a complete mindset shift from filling roles to building possibilities. And that shift aligns perfectly with the people and the product way of thinking, because we are not just hiring individual, we are bringing in builders who can work with AI and not just use it, because at the end of the day, it's people who gives technology its meaning.
This naturally leads us to that one force which is redefining everything under the roof, that is AI. It is a part of every conversation, any discussions that we are having, which is related to capability, productivity, or creativity. So, from that perspective, Rishi, what is that biggest change that hiring has seen, and how is it different, or how is it today?
Agree, AI is everywhere. Naturally, in hiring as well, AI is definitely adding more efficiencies, but it's most about the change in intent. Earlier, hiring was all about volume and speed. Today, it's become more precision and predictability. It's to get the right candidates faster, but with better context. AI definitely has helped us transform the processes, but it also has freed up time for recruiters to focus on what machine can't do, which is to build empathy and human connection. So while AI will and can transform processes, but it is also helping us rediscover the human in hiring.
Fair point. Now let's move on to the next connect, which is on how do we define talent. In today's world, when we say it's skills first, along with learning agility and performance, which is taking a precedence over titles, how do you think organizations are adapting to this new change and of skills outweighing years of experience?
That's the most fundamental shift in talent philosophy. Earlier, the indicator of readiness was experience. Now it's about learning mindset and agility. And at Publicis Sapient, we build the talent ecosystem that flex on client needs, identify the right capabilities that can deliver outcome and not just fill positions. An organization that can deploy, build capabilities and adapt at scale will truly lead this change.
All right, Rishi, now let's talk about how do we define a person who stands out. This is beyond buzzwords, this is beyond resume, but it is all about, those first few minutes when a person speaks that we know, oh, this person has it.
For me, it's curiosity, not just the surface level, I love learning, but a genuine intellectual curiosity. If a person tells me more about the problems that they couldn't solve, but they still cracked at it and stayed late to solve it, that tells more about them than just the project success story.
Yes, also how they explain the things. So a techie would simplify the complex and not oversimplify it.
Yeah.
I think that's clarity of thought.
Exactly. The ability to connect business to technology, I mean, that's gold.
Yes, you know what? Sometimes the candidates try really, really hard to come up with the perfect answer. It makes it more powerful and more authentic when they tell us what didn't work and how hard they tried or learned to solve it.
Exactly. And, hiring managers remember honesty. I once interviewed a candidate who said, I don't know, but I'd love to find out rather than trying to make up the answer. And that humility stood out for me.
With that, I would like to share some insider tips. First, know your story, not your script. Show what drives you. And last but not the least, ask sharp questions. It shows you care about where you're joining.
And I'd like to add a couple of more things. Talk about the impact, not just the activity. And also, don't just talk about what you have built, but what it has changed.
This also gets to another question, Rishi, which is why. When an engineer talks about their approach or their model, it just talks about the way they simplify the problem or solve it. It talks about an engineer's mindset and their intent around it.
That's beautifully put. And to anyone listening, here's the thing. We're not looking for perfection, but we are looking for perspective.
All right, Rishi, time to put you on the spot. The hiring heat check. A rapid fire, no frills, nothing at all. Okay, Are you ready?
Born ready. Let's go.
All right, let's go for it. What's that one thing a resume can never tell you about a candidate?
How you show up when things go wrong.
Okay. Hiring myth you would love to bust once and for all.
Only extroverts make better leaders. Some of the thoughtful ones were quiet listeners.
Okay, Rishi, the last one. If you could give one cheat code to every tech candidate, what would it be?
That's a tough one. Don't chase titles, chase problems worth solving. All right, Swarna, it's now my turn. Are you ready?
Yes, Rishi, let's go for it.
Okay. What's one interview question that still gives you goosebumps?
So there was this candidate who said, I don't want to be the smartest in the room. Rather, I would be in a room which makes me smarter.
Wow, that's powerful. What wins for you, AI-driven recruitment or human instincts?
Human instincts informed by AI, because empathy without data is biasness and data without empathy is noise.
Perfectly said. The last one, the most overused buzzword in a resume.
Team player, please tell me how you built a team rather than telling me you're a team player.
Wow, that was fun.
Wow, that's fun. What a conversation, Rishi. Thank you so much for all the insights. So, this just talks about, it always reminds me when I talk about hiring that it is not about we only filling roles, but shaping the possibilities.
Absolutely. Hiring today is a lot about seeing people behind the profile. And when we see beneath the resume, we discover the builders, the problem solvers, the dreamers who are going to shape the next decade of tech. And at Publicis Sapient, that's our North Star, to not just hire for what's now, but what's next. Because the future isn't written in code, but by the people we choose to believe in.
So, if there's one takeaway from this conversation the entire time that we had, it is the future of work will be defined or shaped by people who will continuously grow, adapt, and learn with AI. Titles may fade, roles may evolve, but what will remain is the skills with human intent behind them that will lead the way. And for the people tuning in, if you're passionate about building what's next, we would love to meet you. Come help us build the future at Publicis Sapient.